And I was talking to a rancher yesterday. I said, hey, how's the monsoon? He goes, we're 50%. Now, this is him telling me, 50% less than what we normally are at this time of year. And I said, what's that mean in gauges to a simple man like me? He goes, 4 inches is what he's had, excuse me. And the average right now is around 8. So it shows you where they're at. I mean, they're hurting. I mean, they are hurting because they live off the land. I mean, from the cattle and all that. So, again, it's just absent. Where's Mother Nature? What have we done to Mother Nature?
And, you know, it's strange because in Cochise County we have so many different climates, really, just within our county. We posted something about floods over in the Alfredo McNeil area, and people are like, there was no rain. How could there be floods and road closures? But the water comes off the mules, and so even though it looks like there's a lot of water in some places, we're really not where we need to be.
But the haters actually have a thought. I hate to say it like that, but they do. There hasn't been much rain. I know I've seen some road closures, and we've had a couple burst, like you say, but you're right, there's different outlets to bring the water into the roads, especially when you look at the mountains and stuff. But at the end of the day, we haven't had a lot of rain, and I know it was spitting this morning a little bit coming in here about 6:30, 6:15, but it's not the monsoon we know.
No, and turn around, don't drown. Even if you think it's a little bit of water, just please don't get stuck in that, because then that makes us get stuck in that.
Well, it does. I mean, the public safety responders, the rescuers, they all become part of that problem. So again, people have been good this year, but then again, we haven't had a lot of rain. So hopefully we're going to see this finale. You know, that's just going to open it up, and we're all going to be like, wow, I knew it would be coming. We all had hope and confidence. But people, wash your cars. Right after this, I'm going to go wash my car twice, folks, twice, because we need some help here with the rain.
And just on a side note, Val today says that it's National Relaxation Day. So I think everybody needs to take a minute, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, get some Zen going, and think about what you can do to relax today.
Some Zen?
Yeah.
What is that?
You know, just...
Oh, okay. I gotcha. I was like, okay. But you're right, though. Everybody needs that moment, that time, and I agree with you. And was it you, Grady? Before we started, we were talking about the production crew was putting the show together for us,
right?
Just us three. But what you made a comment about, or made a statement
for Relaxation Day? I want Star Trek and popcorn. I'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought of that? I mean, except for Grady. But seriously, but we all have our own pleasures or personal, favorites, however you want to look at it. But that's good.
And you just took your EMT refresher.
I did. Every 2 years, I have to recert my EMT, and people are like, Sheriff, why do you still recert? That was my 13th recert. So 26 years I've been an EMT, and I did it back in the 80s too, and then never kept it. But long story short is, I do it because I coach. I think it's very important. Second of all, I mean, if somebody has, and I'm a big believer for people in the fact that we do 8 hours of first aid, kind of first aid on steroids type training for all our folks. And that way, we're a rural county. We're the first responders, especially out in the rural parts. We get to an accident scene, we get to a house and somebody. The worst thing you could do is not look good at a scene. And what I mean by that is you don't do nothing. Well, the ambulance will be here in 10 minutes. Well, as you know, in 10 minutes, you got brain injury, you got a lot of problems, you got possible death. So the bottom line is I want to make sure that we can respond, look good, but I say look good. But most important is be able to perform some kind of life-saving measure. So, yeah, I do it because, and I just had last month where a guy had a heart attack in front of me, and more of a miracle than not, I was right there. And there was a doctor on scene, too, between the doctor and I. But this person lived. We did CPR for about 4 or 5 minutes, but we brought him back, and he lived. So, again, when you can save a life, there is no better gift than that. But you need to know the skills to do it.
And it took you a couple days to do that. In addition, you were busy all this week, as usual. And yesterday, you went to a border meet and greet. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday, yes. And, I left here. I got up at 5, out of the house by 5:30, went to the office, did work. 7:30 I was on the road to Tucson. That's where we resorted at, up in Tucson. And back here by around 4:30, soccer practice till around 6. So it's some long days, let me just tell you. But it's what you do. And so everything was compressed into today and yesterday, trying to get everything done. So, yeah, yesterday, thanks to Zeus Davidson, my sergeant that does my outreach, but he set up a meeting. This ain't the first one. And where the folks from Mexico, the leadership, the government leaders, the general from the Mexican Army, you name it, state police down there, everybody, they come across, and then we have a meeting and talk about what we're facing, what challenges, how can we work together. It's really good. I mean, Consulate was there, and we did this about 4 or 5 months ago. And again, it's an opportunity to go there. And I keep Jesus next to me because they speak a lot in Spanish, and I don't understand Spanish. A couple words and a couple things I can understand, but I said, Jesus, what they just say. And so when we're talking, he's translating for me to all the folks from Mexico. And after I told him, I said, did you really tell him what I said, or did you just say stuff? Because I don't know. But either way, it's nice to have those relationships. Because if there's a crisis, and I've had it before, where we've had a citizen here get in trouble, kind of an innocent thing, but got in trouble and got put in jail in Mexico. I've had a few of those where then we used our influences and contacts to get them back across the line. So again, and I know a lot of border sheriffs do the same thing. So it's a positive thing. It's relationships, and in a time of need, that's when you can use that.
And tomorrow you're meeting with the Vietnam Veterans of America.
Yes, that was good, yeah. And so meeting them tomorrow at 9 o'clock, speaking to them, it's always a great group to speak to. I mean, these are people that have served our country. They're America's heroes. Let's just put it what it is. And to go in that room with so much support. I mean, military and law enforcement have always been a good partnership. To see a fracture there is pretty rare. So this ain't the first time I've got a chance to speak with them. I speak to them like once a year, and so I'm excited tomorrow, 9 o'clock at the VFW. We're going to be speaking to them, but it's usually a packed house, which is always nice. But again, I'm talking to heroes, so it's just I'm a little bit humbled in that room. I'll just say that.
And you have Miss Sierra Vista tomorrow night.
Yes, in fact, we got rehearsals tonight at 5 o'clock and at Buena Theater over there at the auditorium. Come on out tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, and bring the kiddos. But it's a great event. I mean, this is no different than a football game, soccer game. This is competition. These girls work hard, all the way down to little Cinderellas and stuff. We get them up on stage. But I'll be emceeing it with Miss Arizona and Miss Arizona Teen. In fact, tomorrow morning, we got some other stuff going on, but it's going to be a packed day tomorrow. But I will have Miss Arizona and Miss Arizona Teen, 10:30 in the morning. We're going to go out and do some touring around the county. So if you see us out there, you'll know what we're doing. So, again, it's a great event. But tomorrow night it starts at 7 o'clock at Buena Theater. Come on out and support these girls.
And let's jump back to last weekend, Dancing Like the Stars.
Yeah, what a great event by Real Wishes. I'll tell you, just a great event. It was well attended. I think there's 200-300 folks there. And we did that there's a new, owned by economic folks here in town, but it's over there by FedEx, behind there. And they took it's the old call center. I can't remember what it was called, the old call center.
Aegis.
Yes, so it's Aegis, but they've made that a community center. And so that's where we had the Dancing Like the Stars. And let me tell you, some of the best dancers I've seen. These are people in the community that practice dancing, then come in there and compete on the stage. And first time ever, all 6 had perfect scores. So we had to break ties at the end, and a lot of excitement in the room. But they did, before we did that, we did the auction, and they did the auction right along with the sheriff. I brought the chief from Sierra Vista PD up on stage with me, and as he debuted up on his first stage performance. But long story short is it went for $16,000. 2 folks got us for $16,000. And that money goes to help people in need. So, again, thank you to Real Wishes for what they do, and they help a lot of people in this community.
Did you guys have to dance to kick it off?
No, we want people to come, Carol. And so, but I did say for next year, and they talked about Jeff Davenport and I dancing or doing a number. I said, well, I think I'll do it with Nikki, but that's a nice thought. And but long story short is, the mayor and Ramona were supposed to do it this year, and they backed out. So I'm calling them out on the radio. So I'm going to challenge the mayor to come back up there next year and get up there, him and Ramona.
A dance-off.
A dance-off between the mayor and the sheriff. You know he's going to win. It's not going to be the mayor. He'll look better, but he just won't win. So, but it is. It's a fun event. It is a lot of excitement. And the judges was Lindsay Arnold. We all know Lindsay. Used to be a DJ here, remember?
Yes.
Ernie from Mule Mountain Pest. He's a character. And then you got Bobby from Eagle Plumbing. Those are the 3 judges. And they have so much fun with it. And it's a lot of fun. But they raised over $100,000 that night to help people. And these are people that, family can't afford to do this, furnace goes out, whatever it may be. And they have their contacts in the community too, but the businesses. But again, great event. That's why I do it.
And today you're going to be talking at the NAACP Forum And your particular part is going to be with Chief Heiser and Judge Conalog, talking about law enforcement, judicial, things that are going on.
Yeah, and again, it's at 10:40 this morning over at the Rothery Center on Friday Boulevard. And one of the things I want to hit on is tell folks, you want to come out, it's free, come on out. Just don't bring protest signs, please. But I want to talk about partnerships, regionalization, the jail. As you know, that's coming up in November again. And just talk about some of those thoughts and answer any questions people have. I mean, come on out, bring your questions. You're not going to offend us unless you put it in an offensive way, and then I'll tell you offended me, and then I'll still answer it. But at the end of the day, we want people to come out and hear us. Chief Heiser will be there, and like I said, Judge Conalog, who's been a big instrumental part of the criminal justice system and what we do in law enforcement.
And you continue to do international and national media, and the Washington Post just interviewed you recently.
Washington Times, actually.
Okay.
Called me, and I did an interview with them yesterday. Pretty much and everybody's interested where we are, where we've been with the border, and we know where we've been, especially here on the border. But now why are we in the situation we are? And I talked about that, and what's that doing for us now? What's that doing? And I'll just say, without tilting the information, a lot of good things going on. Everybody thinks, okay, well, the border's secure. Why do we have any emphasis on it? Open up, take away the sustainment programs that we have in place here in Cochise County. Grady, you're part of that, as you know. Take away that, let the gates open back up and see the problems we have. We've done an amazing job in Cochise County, to show how it's done with state, local, and federal working together. I mean, we're doing a couple of amazing cases that are going to be coming out very soon, that I'm very proud of. Our men and women, state, local, and federal, all working together for a common cause. But we're doing good things. We're doing amazing things in there. But now that we have the time, I always say the federal agents are now re-employed. And I'm not saying that on political. Don't say, the sheriff's talking politics. It's not politics. Ask any federal agent. Do they feel like they're doing their job right now versus the past? Of course they are. And so when you can get them doing their job, we're doing our job, but we're all sharing our authorities, multi-badge, one-mission approach, the community's a better place to live. And that's what's good about it.
And there's still people coming who want to get up close and personal and firsthand information. So there's Karen Robeson is coming today.
Yeah, Karen Robeson. She's running for governor here in Arizona. I've met her in the past, and I've known her for about 4 or 5 years. So I talked to her a couple weeks ago, and so we're going to host her this afternoon at our sheriff's office, and just talk about some things, kind of things that we're talking about more in depth, and kind of explain what we've done, and show her that she's never been in the border center, to the best of my knowledge. So we're going to show her our border ops and how that impacts in a positive way the state of Arizona, and how the state of Arizona is our partner in this, truly are the partner. So they bought the building. They've paid a lot of the resources. There is no federal dollars absent the federal agents that work in there, and that's a personnel cost that we don't pay for, but they through their own federal government. But otherwise, there was no federal dollars putting this program together. So I'm proud of that. This was a partnership between local and state. And so she's coming today. I'm looking forward to that this afternoon to spend some time, and we wish her well in her election.
And Carol, we've had some scams come up. Some of them are classics, but we've got some new ones as well.
We do. So again, people calling, pretending to be from the sheriff's office. The new one in this is when you call back, the number that they tell you to call, it actually has either a voice recording identifying themselves as Lieutenant Michaels, Cochise County Sheriff's Office, and if you call and get them live, the guy answering will tell you that's who he is. Looks like a homegrown. I know that they have AI that can change the voices, but after a little bit of a lengthy conversation with this one, and the vernacular that they used, and several different ways to tell me to go jump off a cliff.
That's not nice, Carol.
Yeah,
that wasn't nice of them.
I know. It wasn't nice of them. Basically called back, got somebody to answer, and told them to stop, being stupid and being scumbags. But the guy just, continued to go on and on and on and on and on. So we just left that. But please don't be a victim. That's the whole thing. The Attorney General, Chris Mays, just spoke in Nogales about this. We have another speaking engagement this coming week for about an hour with our seniors and aging population about scams. And there's so many ways that you can get taken advantage of. And it's just not older people. It's vulnerable adults. It's, younger people. I just can't imagine how somebody gets so creative, but they definitely do.
Oh, they do. And the biggest thing, ironically, yesterday I was in the office, phone rang, and Veronica, my assistant, was away from her desk. So the phone rang, I answered it, and the lady goes, "Hey, Sheriff, I got this call from one of the deputies, but they didn't leave me a message, and I can't. I just need to get the name of who called me." And I said, "Do you know why they called you?" "Yeah, I didn't make jury duty." I said, "That's a scam. The sheriff's deputies don't call you to tell you didn't make jury duty. I promise you. Hear me on that." She goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, it's a scam." I said, "Just ignore it." And now we note that. We put it in our dispatch center. We note that. Don't think we just blow it off, because there's something we put our teeth around it and arms around it, we will. But in this case, most times it's in a third country. It's gone. It's outside the boundaries of U.S. But yeah, just people sucking there. But what's most scary about this, the one you're talking about, Carol, is when you called them back on that number, they answer. Mm-hmm. Cochise County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant
Michaels.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't have a Lieutenant Michaels, so if he's calling he's a scammer. Let him know your thoughts. Leave it at the tone. But bottom line is, yes, these are scams. And folks, call our dispatch number. We will address if somebody's looking for you. And we don't call on jury if you don't show up for jury. We are not the ones going to come knock on your door.
Well, let's talk about search and rescue.
Search and Rescue's got their annual training conference, or academy, if you want to call it such, for all new volunteers, and that's tomorrow and Sunday. So I'm going to be stopping by there in the morning to welcome our new search and rescue folks. And again, this shows you the magnitude. They do some dangerous things when you're hanging from a cliff, you're pulling stokes or bringing somebody off the mountain. You got to be trained. You got to know what you're doing, and you got to be fit enough to do it. So again, I give our credit to all our search and rescue folks and what they're doing. But again, for all the new volunteers, welcome aboard, and I'll be seeing you in the morning.
And we also have some shout-outs to give. So we want to say, first of all, Smokey the Bear is 81 years old this past week.
Really? I thought he'd be older.
I know. He just carries it well, though. Just like Sam Elliott. It was his same birthday. Just wanted to tell you.
Really?
Yes.
Sam Elliott from Tombstone.
Yes.
Really nice guy. You
Yes.
remember when they filmed it back here? Tombstone was filmed. None of it was filmed in the city of Tombstone. Do you know that? And granted, I understand why Tombstone wraps their arms around it. They should. But none of that was filmed in Tombstone. It was filmed at the old Tucson in Tucson, and then the majority was filmed at the Mescal site off of Mescal Road. We did security on that back in the day. I'm not trying to age myself with Smokey Bear, but he's a lot older than I am. His fur is ruffled. But bottom line, it was just a great show. But Sam Elliott was one of the nicest guys out there. He was such a nice guy. So I don't know about Smokey Bear. He seems like a nice guy, gruffy voice. So, but again, Sam Elliott, what a good guy.
And we also have to give a shout out to school bus drivers. You don't think about that, but they are really instrumental in taking care of your kids, like to and from school events, and you don't hear a whole lot about them. So thank you so much to all the school bus drivers.
I was talking to one this morning. I was getting my soda at 6:30, 6:15 this morning, and I knew the bus driver, and in fact, he's one of the bus drivers from ALA, and they got such, and I have so much respect for educators, but the unsung heroes in the infrastructure of schools is bus drivers. Think about it. They take 50 kids on a bus. Think of the liability. Think of the responsibility to do that. And they're like cops. We're not going to pay you a whole lot of money, though. But we love what you do. It's like teachers, I just don't get that. We just flip that around. But no, I just want to give a shout-out to them this morning. I think for what they do and the least amount of credit they get, we need to give them a lot of credit, and that's why we're going to do it here on First Watch.
Can you imagine having 50 kids on a bus a day? I couldn't do that job.
No, I know when, of course, I'm coaching again, and back out of retirement coaching. But last year was going back into it, was first year, 26 years, and they took a couple years off, and hey, come back and coach. So on that bus, the first ride with kids, and my, I mean, it takes every piece of patience from you, because they like to talk, they like to never sit, they don't like to keep their butts on the seats, and the bus drivers get mad, and we as coaches sit down. So yeah, it's just, but they're kids, they're kids.
And then the safety message that we have is also for kids. It's, a little girl got struck by a vehicle. Sierra Vista Police Department is investigating that. And how awful is that, her sibling, her brother saw it happen. He was still there. The little girl was still under the vehicle at the time that people arrived. So all of that trauma to kick off a year is not good. But just please watch out everywhere you're at. Especially during school hours.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, especially in the morning, afternoon, when the kiddos are running across the street, and My prayers for this family and this little girl. And I haven't heard the status on that, but hopefully she's going to be okay. But again, that's something she'll carry the rest of her life, no doubt about it. So, and once you're involved in a situation where you run somebody over, or whatever the case may be, you live that too. You do, and you think, was I going too fast? And I'm not saying in this situation the person was speeding. I don't know the facts of that case. But we all just need to be more vigilant. Like you say, National Relaxation Day.
Yes.
Make that part of it. Make that part. Put the mind at ease. Take the foot off the accelerator, and let it be safe.
And Sheriff Mark Daniels, before you go, do you have a stop of the week?
Yes, I want to talk about that big shiny thing called a red light. We really, really got to start. Yesterday I was coming into town. It was like, again, 6:15 in the morning, 6 in the morning. Car in front of me, light's red, and she was making a right on the red. And the light was red, and she went right on through it. So I stopped her. I said, you know why I'm stopping you? Was I speeding? No, that's another thought. But the reason I'm stopping you is that light was red. Oh, it was? It just tells you, going back to what we're talking and put it all into reality, is we drive subconsciously now, and that's what gets us in trouble. And I'll say this too, I'm seeing a lot of it, and I make a lot of stops for it too. Put your phones down. Literally put your phones down. It's bad when you go down a road, and I drive an unmarked car, but you can tell it's law enforcement or some kind of government ride. And I look over, and there's people driving head down in the lap with the phone, driving down the road at 55 miles an hour. Now think about that. I mean, it's just, wow, I don't care who you are. I mean, and people say, oh, we live in rural. Well, people walk, and there are people on bicycles in rural. Just let's be safe, folks. We just got to put the phone down or pull off the road, which is a habit I've got into now, is to pull off. And then I use wireless in my car too, so it helps a lot. But if it's a conversation, I just pull off the road. It's going to be long, and because I don't want to be the guy bumping into somebody, and then like they be on all the media and stuff. I really don't want to be there. So again, just be safe out there.
And one of the things that sometimes, final thought, that we maybe neglect but we don't mean to, are all of our listeners.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up, because we talked about that in the production part of the show this morning. You like that? It sounds so fishy, don't it? The production part.
It does, yeah.
We get here at 6:30 and we go, what are we going to say? I don't know. That's production. But long story short is, I want to thank all the viewers. And like, I'm leaving here, going to meet somebody at 8 o'clock after I wash my car twice so Mother Nature can hear me. But is the fact that I'll walk in, hey, just heard you on the radio. Thanks. I get up and listen to your show. And all the ones that tell me, I get up just to listen. Had a city worker tell me last weekend. He goes, I actually get in my city truck and drive around at 7 o'clock. If you're listening, thank you so much. You got a cool truck too, really cool truck. But thank you for doing that, and thank you for tuning in and listening to our safety messages, and just us. There's a lot of cool shows out there, but I always tell people we're the number one rated show in Sierra Vista at 7 o'clock. We're the only show, so we got to be number one. So I just throw that out there. So thank you for listening. We really appreciate it.
And Sheriff Mark Daniels, thanks for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you, everybody. Have a safe week. We'll see you next Friday.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have Dan Deshawn. He's the Director of Emergency Services for Cochise County.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
Giving you an inside look to your sheriff's office. Let's go back to First Watch on KWCD.
Brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. I'm Grady Butler. With me is Carol Kappas and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and thank you so much for being here. Director of Emergency Services, Dan Deshawn.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So we were just talking in our earlier segment about monsoons being 50% down from normal, which is unfortunate. But it does bring up the fact that people are maybe not aware that there's still flooding. That's an issue. So tell us a little bit about what Cochise County is seeing.
Absolutely. Even if it's not all the rains that we hope for, it's still very localized, so you could see flooding in one specific watershed or one specific wash. So we always remind folks the same: turn around and don't drown. If water's flowing over the wash and over the road, just find another way around, because it doesn't take a lot of water to move a vehicle when you drive through.
And so you had emergency declarations for flooding so far?
Not this year. It's been about 3 years. 2022, we did have an emergency declaration for flooding in Elfrida and St. David, but a lot of us here in Arizona, we're always worried about the wildfires, which are significant. But when I look across Cochise County, the vast majority of our emergency declarations are due to flooding. We've had 19 declarations here in Cochise County in the last 50 years, and 8 were for flooding, 4 for drought, and only 2 are for wildfire. And when we look across the whole state, there's been 250 emergency declarations in the last 50 years. And 105 of those, so 42%, were actually for flooding, not fires.
And a lot of Cochise County is rural, and the people who need sandbags are the people who know they need sandbags. But let's kind of talk about the sandbag situation and maybe even give us some tips.
Absolutely. So first, a lot of our public works sites offer the sandbags free for you to pick up if you need them. But there definitely is a right and wrong way to do a sandbag and stack them up. You can't overfill them. Fill them maybe 2/3 and fold that edge over. And then when you're stacking them, try to stack them so they overlap and the edges all don't line up. Otherwise, it'll just tip over. And lastly, when you stack them, it should be as high as it is wide. You can't stack them single file and go up, up, up. Any water will just knock that right over.
And you want to make sure that you get them and understand they're going to be heavy, right? So there's no place in Cochise County that I'm aware of where they have ready-made sandbags. You pretty much have to do it yourself. Is that still true?
Yes. So you can pick up the bag and the sand, but then you got to put the elbow grease in and make it a sandbag.
And if you have a neighbor or somebody that is not able to do that, and you're already doing that, try to be nice and grab a few extra for them. And understanding, again, our monsoons are low, but you can always use sandbags for something.
Absolutely. Even if our total rain across the county isn't what we had hoped, we still get that localized rain and storms and flooding. One good storm in a canyon can still cause significant damage.
And they also have post-fire flooding. So tell us a little bit about what that is.
Absolutely. So after your fire, wildfires, that vegetation holds the soil together, and at times the heat can actually change the characteristics of the soil where it doesn't absorb that water and let it sink into the ground. So any rain just hits the ground and just immediately runs down and doesn't absorb. So your normal rainstorm in your neighborhood could be drastically different after a fire, and then it could lead to even in a small wash, some small scale mudslides, things of that nature, where it doesn't have that vegetation holding it together.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what your office does. We're going to talk about alerts in a minute, which is part of what you do, but kind of give us the big picture of what Emergency Management Services does.
Yes, that's a good question. I always have to give a good example of that. So when we have a large wildfire, our wildland firefighters, they're going out and teaming up to fight that fire. The Emergency Management Department on the back end, so we'll work with the Sheriff's Office to determine what roads need to be closed. Then we'll work with the firefighters to determine what areas need to be evacuated, and we'll send those emergency alerts to your cell phones and landlines. Also, we'll then go into town and work with the local school and the American Red Cross to set up a shelter. So all the behind-the-scenes action is facilitated by emergency management.
And one of the things that you talk about are the different alerts that go out. So Ready, Set, Go is the campaign through Arizona that was started by the Arizona Sheriff's Association. So people need to really be aware of what that is. And you do a good job at telling everybody how to sign up for these things, what they are. So remind us all one more time.
Yes. So the Ready, Set, Go program, it's standardized across the state, and it's how we give that evacuation messaging. So ready, I like to say we should always be ready. We do that by maybe following the CCSO Facebook so we know where to get emergency information. We sign up for alerts in advance. And then maybe we have a plan, and we talk about the 5 Ps. So I have a plan. I know what I'm going to do with my pets, my prescriptions, my papers, my personal items, and priceless items. So you're really just making all your preparation in advance so you're ready. We should always all be ready. Then the next stage is set. That means there is a hazard in the area, and we're not sure if it's going to fully impact your neighborhood or not, but we want to let you know so you can start to get ready as well. In that case, maybe if you have a go bag, you put it in your car, or maybe if you're able to leave the area that day and go into town and run some errands, it may be a good idea to just leave the neighborhood in advance, because you never know how quickly you could go from set to go. On go, it's time to evacuate where there's a threat in your neighborhood and a threat to your life safety, so you should leave.
And if it's go, we really encourage people strongly to go, because as we experienced in the Monument Fire, people stayed. They stayed until the 11th hour, and then they needed help from law enforcement to get them out. And we had people putting themselves in the line of fire, no pun intended, and actually put themselves at risk. And you could hear it, you could see it, you could experience it. So please don't put us in that predicament, because we may not be able to get to you. So if someone is telling you that there's an event occurring, regardless of what the event is, that matches one of these notification protocols, just be ready to go when they say go.
Yes, and that's why we try not to overdo the emergency alerts so you don't get that alert fatigue. But there's absolutely a scenario where wildfire is spreading and the incident commander says, okay, we need to evacuate, and that fire jumps a road, or we are then unable to send a deputy or firefighter back in to get someone. That's a very real possibility, especially when we look at some of our canyons that are one way in and one way out.
Well, let's talk about how to sign up for those alerts. So now we kind of understand where alerts come from and what you do. But when somebody is in the ready status, which we all are right now, how do we sign up for alerts now so we don't have to wait till it's too late?
Yes. So I recommend everybody sign up for alerts in advance. We can send alerts to hit your cell phone and your landline, but it's better to sign up in advance, because those alerts, they're geo-targeted. So if you're outside of the area, you won't get it. So if you're in town running errands and there's a fire in your neighborhood, you're not going to get that alert. But if you sign up in advance, you can tie your cell phone to your address. So when that address is in the box we draw on the software, then you'll get that alert.
Can you also like sign up on behalf of mom and dad or something?
Yes, and I recommend that as well, where if you need someone, or if you have a family member that may need a little help evacuating or may not be tech savvy, you can tie their address to your cell phone. So if grandma and grandpa, there's a fire in their neighborhood, you'll get alerted, so you could go help them.
All right, so how do we sign up for these alerts?
Okay, we'll get the flyers out on the social media, but it's cochise.myfreealerts.com.
All right, and kind of walk us through the process of how it is. Is it easy? Is it user-friendly?
I think it is. It's one screen. You don't have to create an account, but you will have to go in and do a two-factor authentication. So again, if you need someone that, if you know someone that needs a little help with their technology, their cell phone, you may have to help them get the text code and punch it in. But it's one screen, and you can even select if you want to receive extra alerts that come from the Weather Service as well.
And I believe we have these on the Sheriff's Office Facebook page as well.
Yes.
So you can get the flyer that he's talking about, which will kind of walk you through it, and there's QR codes, I believe, as well.
Yes.
Okay, so and if it's not up there, we'll make sure it gets put up pretty soon. So, but where else can we find these flyers? Like, do you have social media yourself, or do you just...
Our department does not have its own page. We post everything on the Cochise County page, and working with Carol to post it on the Sheriff's Office page.
Okay.
But we do have a department webpage where the flyer and links are there.
All right, well, give us the web page for the sign-up one more time.
It is cochise.myfreealerts.com.
Well, Dan, we thank you for coming and talking to us today. We thank you for everything you do for our community behind the scenes.
All right. Thank you, Grady. Carol?
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have Alan Wheeler from the Sheriff's Assist Team.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
Giving you an inside look to your sheriff's office. Let's go back to First Watch on KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. I'm Grady Butler. With me is Carol Kappas and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and thank you so much for being here, Deputy Commander of Operations for the Sheriff's Assist Team, Alan Wheeler. That's like a mouthful. So thanks for being here.
Yeah.
So kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a fairly recent resident of Cochise County. I came here after I retired from the Army, and 30 years in law enforcement in California, and met several people from SAT, got to talking to them, and joined 9 years ago. And since then I've done patrol, I've done background interviews, and now I'm, like I say, the deputy commander for operations. So if we go out there, the boss calls me, says we need people for such and such a detail, and I arrange for them.
Well, let's talk about what the Sheriff's Assist Team does. Kind of give us an overview of who you are.
Well, the Sheriff's Assist Team is a non-law enforcement, all-volunteer organization that our job and our mission is to assist the Sheriff's Department by doing jobs that the deputies don't have to do. Like we do the Neighborhood Watch program, we do that. We do house checks. If people are going on vacation checks, we do all those. We also get involved with community events like Art in the Park, the Veterans Day Parade, Christmas Parade, and things like that. But again, we do it so the deputies don't have to. And we get involved in like fires. The Stronghold fire, we were out there for 3 straight days, 24 hours a day, working an intersection so a deputy did not have to do it.
And then also a great honor that you guys carry is taking veterans to their final resting place.
Back in 2018, excuse me, coffee, the sheriff, there was a change in access, and the sheriff took over funeral escorts, which is his purview as the sheriff. And since the end of 2018, we did one yesterday, was our 358th escort. And they go from like 1 car, and we've had escorts like out of Benson for over 100 cars and motorcycles. So we do it all the time.
That's pretty cool. It's an amazing thing that you guys do for the community. So you have an event coming up tomorrow that you wanted to let the Sierra Vista listeners know about.
Yeah, tomorrow is the annual Hummingbird Triathlon that Sierra Vista puts on, and we're involved because the bicycle route brings the cyclists out into the county, and that route is along Charleston Road to Moson Road, and then the bicycles will make a right-hand turn, go about halfway down Moson toward Highway 90, and make a turn back and come back through that intersection. And so what we do is we have anywhere from 3 to 4 people at that Moson intersection to help the bicyclists, and we have the signs out, we have the cars with the lights on, just to warn drivers to be cautious and be aware that the bicyclists are out there. And it's basically safety for everybody.
And will you guys be directing traffic or just moving traffic through? Or?
The only directing traffic we do is we'll stop people coming down like Charleston. If there's a group going to cross, a bicyclist going to cross that intersection making a left-hand turn. So we'll stop the cars, let the bikes through. But we're not blocking the roads. It's just by need. Yeah, we don't stop.
So everybody in that area, if you're driving around tomorrow, make sure you note the bikes and share the road and follow any personnel on site that might be telling you what to do. It's all happening tomorrow. What time does this begin and go through?
The actual event starts at 7. We'll be out there about 6:30, and it goes to about 11 o'clock in the morning. Is about what we've done over the last 3 or 4 years. So you'll see a lot of bikes from about 7 o'clock until 11:30 on Charleston. Moson's not that busy on a Saturday morning, but Charleston is. People heading out to Tombstone, etc.
Well, we thank you for coming and talking to us and catching us up on the Hummingbird Triathlon for tomorrow.
Thank you.
And thank you for everything that SAT does for our community and for the Sheriff's Office. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, Carol, how do they get a hold of us at the Sheriff's Office?
So give us a call, 520-432-9500. You can reach out through our email at sheriffstips@cochise.az.gov. You can check us out on our social media, Cochise County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mark J. Daniels. That'll lead you to our Facebook page. And again, we have links there for our X and our Instagram. And finally, you can look at our webpage at cochise.az.gov/sheriff.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch, brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. Keep up to date. Follow the Cochise County Sheriff's Office on Facebook and tune in next Friday, 7 a.m. for First Watch right here on KWCD.